Networking, aka relationship building, is the #1 way to get a new job. But how are you supposed to network when you still are employed? Today, I'm going to give you my advice on this, including what every career guide I ever read never said and frustrated me. I'm going to tell you the honest truth that no one seems to want to say. So let's get into it. So if we haven't met, my name is Cassandra, and I help career changers and motivated professionals build their careers through practical tips to gain career confidence. And let's get you into that new, more fulfilling role. Before we get started, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell so you know when new videos come out. And if you like this topic, smash that like button so that the algorithm of YouTube knows to give this to more people, right? I guess apparently that's what it does. So let's get into networking. Now, I kind of mentioned this in the intro, but fun fact, this is the area that basically got me into becoming a career coach, because when I was looking to change jobs and reading every career guide, every book under the sun, they all said, oh, you have to get coffee with people. You have to get coffee with people. And I'm like, I have a job. I have a job with an hour commute each way. How am I getting these coffees? My boss can't know that I am looking for a different line of work. Like, what am I supposed to do? So we will get there. I am going to address that. Luckily, since those books came out, or since I was reading them, some things have changed to make networking for an employed person a lot easier. So let's start with the easy things, and then we'll dive into the how do you get coffee while you're still employed? First thing that's going to make networking while employed easier, online is your friend. Thank goodness for social media in this case. You can be on LinkedIn, DMing people on Instagram, be in Facebook groups. That is all networking. So when you're sending someone a connection request or replying to someone's comment in a Facebook group, that is networking. Use those groups to your advantage. DM people on Instagram. All of that counts as networking. Then start building your own online presence. Now, I have talked about this in a couple of other videos. I know this is easier said than done, but if you start building a presence online, you will start drawing people to you. We talk about outbound networking all the time in the job seeking realm. So outbound networking is what we hear most. Hey, reach out to someone, ask them to a Zoom call, ask them to coffee, those sorts of things. You're reaching out. But there's also inbound networking, doing things that draw others to you. So start creating content online, start posting on LinkedIn. Then people will start coming to you to have the conversation. They'll be commenting on your post, and you can start building relationships that way. With those relationships tend to come opportunities. So start creating an online presence. Okay, the next way you can be networking while employed is join an association. So whether it's the professional association for your current industry that you want to stay in, or if you want to switch industries, join the regional association for whatever you want to switch to. The beauty of these is they tend to have events, but they understand people work, so they're at night most of the time, or there's at least normally some sort of evening option. This means your boss doesn't have to know about it, or if it's within your industry, it just looks like, wow, she's really working on her professional development, right? So go start joining those association events. The nice part with those two is normally there's a topic that you're talking about. It's rarely just like a blind mixer. Normally you're going to hear a speaker on something, and then there's some networking time involved, which gives you an opportunity to have like a topic to then speak to people about, instead of just having to go in and be like, hi, I'm Cassandra. So what do you all do? It just makes it a lot easier. But join those associations. If work won't pay for it, it's worth putting in a bit of money to get you in front of those people that you want to meet and it not be questioned. Another way to be networking while employed, volunteer. Is there an association or an organization, a nonprofit that aligns with your career goals or that you could help in some way? Like, can you volunteer for galas or benefits where people will be there that you want to meet? Getting in front of people by volunteering is another great way to be networking, and it's not going to raise any red flags or questions. And again, now for those one-on-ones, the coffee meeting, things like that. Virtual is our friend. People are going to be more open to online than ever before. So ask somebody to do a virtual coffee chat. Maybe you get into work a little bit early to do it, or maybe you sneak out to your car at lunchtime and do it on your phone. You know, if all else fails, guys, you can use this as a phone, the old school way. Go to someplace not in your office, not in your cubicle for a break and take that call elsewhere to get in those coffee chats. What about those people that you really do want to meet in person? Those people that don't want to do an after hours drinks or an early morning coffee. How are you supposed to meet them, right? This is where the career guides just made me so mad, where it was like, yeah, you just got to meet people for coffee. Yeah. Who can't meet at 8 a.m.? I can't. I'm commuting. Here's what no one will say. I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble saying it. Call in sick. Say you have an appointment. You didn't say it was a doctor's appointment. You just said an appointment. You know, these are the things we sometimes have to do if it's somebody we really want to meet with. We get some opportunity to meet with the head of our dream department at our dream company, and you got to be willing to take that risk or sacrifice a vacation day or a sick day or whatever. You got to do it. That's how you're going to meet the people. Now, that's why we don't do this all the time. That's why we spend most of our energy on all those other things I just listed. But every now and then, yeah, I've done it. I said, oh, I have an appointment. I'm going to be in a little late this morning. Or, oh, you know what? I'm going to take a sick day tomorrow or a vacation day next week or whatever, because it was worth sacrificing that vacation day to meet with that person. Now, let's also talk about, what about my boss? So this is going to be very nuanced, very industry specific. I already know with what I'm about to say, some of you are going to come at me and be like, I could never do that in my industry. I know. Okay. But other people have cool bosses that actually like them and want them to be successful, and you can have an open conversation. So if you have that kind of boss, maybe we need to have a conversation about, hey, you know, I'm really looking to move to my next step. I just wanted to make you aware of that. And, you know, would it be okay if next week I'm in a little late because I'm going to meet somebody for coffee? It's possible you might have that boss. I know not all of us do, but you might. So be open to that. With everyone else, I understand your boss might not know, you might be scared of them finding out, etc. This is why you have to trust the people you're networking with, that they're not going to go share this information with your boss. Like, oh, hey, I just had coffee with Cassandra. Yeah, she said she was looking for a new opportunity. Like, trust the people you're networking with. And then really, really at the end of the day, if your boss finds out, you have to be okay with that. Maybe it's going to give you the chance to have an open conversation and say, well, look, I wasn't trying to hide anything from you. It's just, there's really not a new place for me to grow within the company, and I want to continue in my career. And so I was trying to build connections. Or, oh, I just figure it never hurts to meet new people and know what's out there. And so I wanted to have coffee with them to learn more. Like that should be okay. But I understand we don't all have that boss. You decide which of these ways to network is going to be best for your situation right now, and then focus on that. If you're watching this video and you're like, Cassandra, I have such a toxic work environment that I don't get sick days. I don't get paid time off. I commute an hour and a half every way. There's literally no chance to meet somebody in person. That's okay. Do phone calls. Focus on the online stuff, you know, like social media, things like that. See if someone's open to meeting on a Saturday, or at least taking a 15-minute call on an off time. Try those things. But I wanted to put out there all the different ways that you should be considering networking while still employed. Normally here I give some pretty traditional, tried and true career advice, but today we are going the polar opposite, and I am giving you my craziest, think outside the box, be brave, try something a little different career advice. So let's get to it. And today we are talking about the craziest advice I have for you, along with some story time. Yes, that traditional YouTube story time. I never do those, but today we are. First craziest advice. I want you to take improv. Now, when this video is coming out, some of you might still be in a quarantine time. You can't really go out and do improv, but just know in the future, I want you to take an improv class. Sign up at a community college. If you're in a big city where there's a Second City or UCB, New York, Chicago, LA, I do recommend signing up for one of their classes. Are they expensive? Yes. Are they life-changing? Yes. Here's why I think you need improv. Improv is getting used to the idea of expecting the unexpected, of not knowing what's coming next. And in our world where we control oh so much, we are not used to that anymore. And I think this is partly why job interviews are so terrifying. You don't know what they're going to ask. And I don't think we realize how much of our day we know exactly what's coming. And to then go into a job interview where you don't know throws you off so badly. So improv gets you used to that idea. Like, it gets you into a space where you realize, oh, I can handle that. I'm not going to know what's going to come next. It also teaches you to deal with failure. When you do an improv class, you will mess up. You will panic. You will not do things well. You will not be funny. And you'll watch everyone not laugh and then move right along. It just makes you quite fearless in a way. Y'all, I tell everybody to take improv. Like, I haven't done it on this channel, but if you met with me in person, I've talked about it on podcasts when I've been a guest before. I've talked about it on panels. I think everyone should take improv in their life. Like, second to wanting you to know Jesus as your savior, you need to take improv, okay? Jesus first, improv second. That's how important I think it is. It just did so many things to change my life. And y'all, I didn't become a performer. I didn't take more than 2 levels of classes, but it was enough to teach me these great skills. I watched myself become braver. I watched myself try things I wouldn't have tried before. I watched myself fail at things and go, all right, like the world doesn't end. And I think it helps so much for your career. You will become braver and apply for that job you never thought you'd apply to. You will go into that interview and give some answers that you weren't prepared for and go, you know, I did the best I could. We'll see how it goes. Instead of berating yourself afterwards for not being perfect. It just teaches you to open up in totally different ways. So I want everyone to sign up for some sort of improv class. Okay, number 2. We've talked about this a little bit before, but I highly believe proximity matters. What does this mean? It means if you want to work in film, you need to be in a city where film happens and be working in places where you will meet people in your industry. That means that we do not just hole up in our houses all the time. I remember a billion years ago, back when the Oprah show was still on, I believe it was Dr. Phil who was like, if you want to get married and meet someone, you need to get outside your house unless you're going to marry the FedEx guy, right? Same thing. If you want to work in the film industry, if you want to work in tech, you need to be hanging out in the areas where you will meet people. So once again, I know right now this one might be a little hard, but you can still be in online groups with people in your industry. You can still, depending on your city, go to a coffee shop that's at the bottom floor of the building that houses the major finance companies that you're dreaming of working for. Whatever it is, try and find a way to be in proximity. When I lived in LA, I would go to the same Starbucks every day to work. And there were screenwriters that would go there every day. And they would all chat with each other. And I just kind of saw, like, this helps. Like, they get ideas from each other. They kind of have a network. Proximity matters. Another story of this. a friend and I were out to dinner, and she was telling me how she didn't have a next job lined up in production. She was like, yeah, I don't have anything left. I'm looking for a new PA job. And we were in North Hollywood. We're walking down the street, and outside a dance studio is set up one of these tents, these like card tents that get set up that say, you know, you are being filmed when you walk by here. It's a clearance thing. So clearly something's filming in that studio. And I jokingly looked at her and said, well, they're filming. See if they need a PA. And we kept walking, and like 30 feet later, we hear, excuse me. We turn around. This guy goes, did somebody say they can PA? Because we actually are looking for a PA. What? So it does happen. I can't say it's definitely going to happen, but remember, if you want to get married, don't be in your house unless you're marrying the FedEx guy. If you want a job in certain areas, your chances of working in that area are going to go up exponentially when you're in proximity. So try and get in proximity of the companies and types of people you want to work with. And again, if we can't do that because we're in a place that's quarantined still or under some sort of advisement of staying at home, go in online groups, find them on Facebook, on LinkedIn, find their association and see who you can network with and comment and share and like online to be in virtual proximity to. Okay, so speaking of proximity, I think you need to drive Uber, Lyft, or Postmates something. This is a key one. If you drive Uber and you want to work in film and you live in the LA area, why are you not going to Hollywood or going in like the Burbank studio area and just using that as your Uber area? You can Uber anywhere, so why not Uber in a place that's strong proximity to the people you want to work with? So I have told people this for years. I had a student that I saw on his resume drives for Uber, and I said, you want to work in film? Are you going up to LA to Uber? And he said, no, because we're in Orange County. And I said, why aren't you driving up there? You can do Uber anywhere. Why not take the 40 minutes to go up to Hollywood and then Uber in that area? He did. He came back to me and said, thanks for that tip. I picked up a producer, got talking with him. He gave me a PA job. From there, I went and did a bunch of other PA jobs. I can barely finish doing my qualifications for graduation because I'm getting so much work. Okay? So this is taking the proximity thing to the next level. But if you have the opportunity to be a driver for Lyft or Uber, I highly suggest doing it and then doing it in an area where in the proximity of the people who you can come in contact with and talk to who work where you want to work. Start building that network. And then lastly, I want you to be willing to talk to anyone. One of my favorite phrases is, or quotes, although no one knows who said it, is one hello can lead to a million things. We do not know where our next job is coming from, but if you're willing to talk to anybody, you are creating the opportunity for job opportunities every time you open your mouth. So every time you say hello, every time you comment on something, you are creating an opportunity for someone to open up to you and to start a dialogue for them to offer you a job. I know this sounds crazy. It's not. Last story. This was quite a few years ago, but back when I lived in LA, a friend and I decided we wanted to go to the Four Seasons for Oscar Sunday brunch. So in LA, the Oscars, you know, the Academy Awards are a huge deal, and there's parties all week, and there's just kind of a different energy to the city, especially if you work in entertainment. But it was always rumored that everybody eats brunch at the Four Seasons Hotel on Oscar Sunday. We decided, yes, this one time we are going to go gangbusters and spend the crazy amounts of money to go eat brunch at the Four Seasons. So we get there. Fun fact, I did see Colin Firth eating with Tommy Lee Jones at breakfast before he won for the King's Speech. So I do like to say that Colin Firth and I had brunch before he won his Academy Award, but you all didn't need to know that we were at very different tables. So anyway, check, we saw our celebrities. But my friend and I sit down for brunch, and we're enjoying ourselves, and we see these people at the table kind of kitty corner to us, and we just can't quite figure out how these people go together. Like, you know, normally you can tell like, oh, that's a business thing, or oh, that's a family eating, or that's friends gathering. We couldn't figure it out. Were they friends? Were they family? They all were dressed different. They didn't look related. It was interesting to us. They caught our attention. And so we were kind of like, oh, I wonder who these people are. They're just interesting. And then the woman got this drink that did not make sense for a Four Seasons brunch. It wasn't a mimosa. It wasn't a Bloody Mary. I still remember it came in some sort of like pina colada glass with like half a pineapple and I swear a tropical flower coming out the side. And I love a cocktail and I had to know what the heck she was drinking. So I finally just it came to the table and it drew everyone's attention. And I looked at her and went, oh my gosh, I just have to know, what is that? And so she started talking to me about the drink. And my friend, male friend, he dresses wonderfully. Yeah, he's one of those people who knows how to like do the mixing and matching of patterns and it all comes together. He's got on this great suit. The two men at their table, since I have opened up to the woman, they now see the opportunity to go, hey, we just got to ask, we were looking at your suit. Where is your suit from? That's a gorgeous suit. And they start, they're like, oh, the way you put that together, it all looks great. We all start talking. Long story short, we end up moving over to their table. They buy us champagne. Business cards are exchanged, job offers are made, right? We ended up learning about how they all knew each other, what their businesses were. We bonded over stories of going to Miami and travel and all these different things. But it all started because I just asked a woman what she was drinking. Did I know when I asked, hey, what are you drinking? It would lead to all that? Heck no. But if you say nothing, there is no opportunity to move the conversation anywhere else to get that job opportunity. So don't be afraid to talk to people. Talk to anyone and everyone. Now, I'm not saying go give out all your personal information. Be smart about what you share with strangers, but don't be afraid to open up and just ask a question and see where that conversation leads. And because you took the improv, you'll be much more brave to do it. Those are some of my craziest pieces of career advice. Let me know which one you would try. I'm a little nervous about this video. I'm afraid some of you are gonna roll your eyes, but those of you who are brave enough to go out on a limb and try these things, I promise you they can get you a job faster. I talk a lot about networking in your job search, that you need to do it. It's how people find jobs, but I know a lot of you are scared and, well, how do I not sound like a user in doing that? But there's a secret you need to know that no one talks about that I think will really help you. And so this video is all about it. Today I'm going to share the secret with you. If you didn't know, you can't just apply online for jobs. When you only apply online, you're going to do a lot of sending resumes out into the abyss and wonder why no one is calling you back, right? Or in this world, probably emailing you back. But you need to be networking with people. When you pair networking with applying online, your chances of getting a job you love, not just a job, go through the roof. So the best way to do that networking is informational interviews. And I have a whole playlist about those. I'll put it in the description box below. But I know a lot of you do the informational interview, but then you see the job maybe a month or two later at that company that looks really good and you're like, oh, how do I reach out to that person I did the informational interview with and ask them to pass my resume along? Doesn't it sound presumptuous? What if they don't think I'm a good fit? They don't owe me anything. Why? They already did coffee with me. Why am I asking them to do me another favor, right? I don't want to sound like a user. I hear that one a lot. And I felt that way when I was in school. And I think it just feels very much like you're being a taker. I think people think, oh, I'm being a taker. We do not want to be takers, okay? We need to be givers in this world. But there are times where you're going to have to ask someone a favor. And here's why this favor should be easier to ask than any other. First, let's remember that people actually like helping other people. It feels good to go, oh yeah, I can pass your name along. Oh sure, I would love to send your resume along. They like helping others. So don't be afraid to put out that ask, because put it in reverse. If somebody said to you, hey, I saw this great job in the company, could you refer me? Or pass my name along, as long as they're a good fit for it, you would feel fine doing that. So make sure the same is true for you. As long as you're like, hey, I think I'm a really good fit for this position. Here's 3 quick reasons why. Would you mind passing my resume along? You've made a good argument of why they should help you. Second, it's going to make them look good if they're referring an awesome person to the company. So if you get hired, they're the one who gets the credit of, oh, you brought them to us? That's great. Thanks for bringing in such a good candidate. But here's the key reason. This is the secret that I feel like people just don't talk about. Along with them looking good, they may also get money. Did you know that? Did you know that when someone refers you for a job at a company, that person gets a bonus? That's right. They get money for referring you to the company. These bonuses can be $100, a couple $100, thousands of dollars. They can get a thousands of dollars bonus, potentially, depending on the company, just for sending your resume along. So when you are applying for a job, please do not be afraid to ask somebody, hey, could you send my resume to HR? Because they probably, potentially, could be getting a referral bonus if you get hired. So they're going to be like, yeah, I'd love to send your name along, because if you get hired, they get money. Now, this is more the thing at larger corporations and also growing businesses. So a lot of startups, a lot of tech companies give these sorts of a lot of tech companies gives these sorts of bonuses. Wow, y'all. Tongue-tied today. You don't know. Maybe the mom and pop shop does too. Maybe the small business does too. It's always worth throwing it out there to the person you've met with, just in case they could get a bonus as well. So don't be scared to ask for the help. Number 1, people love helping other people. Number 2, they're going to look good. But 3, they might get a lot of money out of the deal. So don't worry. It's in their interest too. You're not just being a user. You're not just being a taker. This might be an inadvertent give situation. So don't be afraid to make the ask. Y'all, interviewing is rough, but not getting the job is rougher. So today we are going to talk about what you can do if you keep getting interviews, but you're not getting the job. Okay, so first off, just know that there are a myriad of reasons why you might not be getting the job. I've had a couple of clients who just hit a streak of luck of somebody's son got the job. They were actually going to hire an internal candidate, and really they knew from the beginning they were going to hire that person, but because of HR rules, they still had to bring in 2 other people. There are plenty of reasons why you might not be getting it that have nothing to do with you, or not getting it doesn't mean that you were a disaster and a horrible interview, or that they didn't like you. So first off, start there. Remember that not getting it doesn't mean they didn't like you. Sometimes you just weren't the right fit for that specific position, but something's going to open in another department and they're going to give your name for that job. So just know, it doesn't mean you're out with that company. It doesn't mean you're out with that department. There's a lot of other factors involved than just you. Sometimes, like I was saying, it just means it wasn't the right time. I had a client who interviewed for top internships at every studio in LA and didn't get it. Not one. Then the next year, she interviewed with every one of those companies again and was offered it at every company. Sometimes it's just a matter of timing. So if you didn't get the job, the first thing I would suggest is to ask the recruiter or the hiring manager, whoever interviewed you, if you could get some feedback. Now, not everyone will do this, and some people won't even respond to your request, but it doesn't hurt to ask as long as you do it politely. Send a very kind note saying, hey, I know I wasn't a great fit for this position, or I understand it didn't work out this time, but I would love to know what I could do to improve for any future roles, or if you have any feedback on my interview style or answers, I would love to hear from you. If you could just give me a couple of pointers, I'd really appreciate it. I think quantifying always helps. If you could just tell me one thing you wish you had seen from me, or if you want to say just 3 to 5 tips, I'd appreciate it. But keep it short but polite. You're not expecting anything from them. You understand they don't have to do this, but if they could, you'd really appreciate it. Once again, they might not do it, but you might as well try. So what I don't want you to do is to go back through your answers and question everything you did. When we do this sort of thing, we tend to get really overly critical, we overthink it, and then you might end up trying to fix answers that were actually really good in the first place because you're just in this critical headspace. However, I will ask you, did you practice enough? Okay? Practice is so important to end up having great interview answers. And one thing I find is a lot of people I talk with didn't practice enough before the interview. So question yourself on that. Don't question all your answers, but go back to your prep and go, did I prepare enough for this interview? If not, what else could I do? So one thing you can do to practice more for next time and moving forward, right? Moving forward, now that we haven't been getting interviews or getting job offers off of interviews, is record yourself when you practice. So don't just practice in a mirror. When you're practicing in a mirror, you are paying attention to the words coming out of your mouth. You're paying attention to what you're going to say next. You're not paying attention to what you're seeing in front of you. And if you're smiling enough, or if your answer rambled too long, things like that. If you said every word, or if you're up talking at the end of every sentence because you're nervous. So make sure you're spending some time recording it on your phone and then watch it back so you can see if there are any corrections you need to make. Did you ramble too long? Did you say like every other word? Did you up talk? All of those sorts of things. Now that you've seen it, you can judge for yourself what you might need to, you might have to give yourself some critical feedback so you can fix things to be a better interview next time. Now, another step of this would be to interview with somebody else. So if you can get a friend or family member to practice with you, that's great. Have them ask you the questions and then ask their feedback. Now, if you don't trust your family members' advice, if you think like they don't know enough about this industry or what people are looking for in an interview, I don't know if you know this, but you can hire me. So if you want, we can do a mock interview together. And I try to keep the prices on that really low. So if you want to do that sort of thing, we can sit down over Zoom and I will interview you and give you feedback on your answers. If you want that service, it is in the description box below. So check that out. Just keep going, keep practicing, and one day the right job really will come along. LinkedIn is a networking game changer. You can literally reach out to anybody at your dream company in your dream department doing your dream job. But how do you send a connection request that makes them want to connect back with you? Well, today I am going to talk all about that. So I want to start by telling you a story. When I was in college, I interned at On Air with Ryan Seacrest when it was a TV talk show. Seriously, Google it. It was a TV talk show. Or really, YouTube it. It was a talk show before it was a radio show. Anyway, not the point. So getting that internship, I knew the people who worked there were essentially my only network for working in entertainment. Like I knew nobody else. And on my first day, they gave me the staff contact list and it had everybody's emails and phone numbers. And y'all, I held on to that list like it was gold. Like I knew this is my only way into this industry. This piece of paper is the contact information of everybody I know in entertainment. Fun fact, I still have that list just for memory's sake. None of those numbers work anymore, and I don't need them because now LinkedIn exists. So like I said in the intro, now with LinkedIn, you can reach out to literally anybody, which is super cool and an amazing feature. So before, if you were a kid in Iowa who really wanted to work in Hollywood, you had to hope you had a neighbor, a cousin, a a relative 3 times removed or whatever who somehow went and did it before you. Like you would somehow have somebody who worked out there to connect you. Or, as a lot of people used to do, you had to get on a bus and just move to LA and hope and pray that you could break your way in. Now you can start connecting with people and networking from your home in Iowa and have a job lined up by the time you come out here. But it's not that simple, right? Like, how do you actually contact those people? How do you send a request that makes them want to connect back with you? I'm about to show you how. If it's somebody you do not know that you are trying to reach out to on LinkedIn, you cannot just hit that connect button. You need to have a well-crafted connection request. So if you find someone you've never met, do not hit that connect button on the search page. Like if you see somebody in a list of searches and there's always that connect under it, don't hit that. It'll just send them the generic request. Click on their profile and read over their profile for a minute. See if you have anything in common. Did you go to the same school? Do you have a hobby in common? Did you both have an entry-level job at Target during college? Like, it could be anything, but just check first and see if you have anything in common. So now it's time to hit connect and hit connect on their profile. And when that little pop-up comes up that says add note, click yes, add note. Don't just send request. So now it's your turn to make your introduction, and you're going to think of it kind of like going up to somebody at a party. You're going to say hi, you're going to introduce yourself, give your name, you're going to say what you have in common, and then you're going to ask to connect. That's it. Hit send. So it might be something you have in common from that list you looked over, or it might just be that you have a person in common, like they're connected to your cousin, or it's your best friend's dad. Anything like that, you're going to name drop that person as well. The key with this is that it's personalized. You do not want them to think this is some copy-pasted note that you have sent everybody. So here are some examples. Hi Sarah, I'm Cassandra, an engineering major at USC. I saw you also went to USC and were an engineering major and now work at Raytheon, which is one of my dream companies to possibly work for. I would love to connect. That's it. It's okay to say that you want to work at that company one day. They probably wanted to work at that company too. So put it out there. It's not going to hurt anything. You've started with what you have in common, so it's okay to follow up with why you want to connect. It can be casual. It could say, hi Mike, based on the amount of people we have in common and the fact that we both like to volunteer at animal shelters, I'm thinking we should connect. That's okay too. Now, if it's the CEO of a company that you're desperate to work at, maybe we don't go that casual. But it is okay to, sound like a human being. A question I get a lot is, what about recruiters? Can I reach out to recruiters on LinkedIn of jobs I'm interested in, of companies I want to work for? Oh my gosh, yes, of course. You want to say something like, hey Sarah, my name's Cassandra and I'm an animation major at Cal State Fullerton. I saw that you do recruiting for Disney, and of course it is my dream to work for the best animation company on the planet one day, and I'm gonna definitely apply for the summer internship. Just wanted to give you a heads up and I would love to connect. That's it. Or I'm definitely applying for the summer internship and just wanted to introduce myself. I'd love to connect. Pretty simple. Is everyone going to answer your request? No. That's just the truth. But there's a bunch of reasons why. Maybe that person's never on their LinkedIn. They don't check it. Maybe their assistant checks it. Maybe they have some weird policy. Who knows? But by adding the note, your chances of getting a connection go up exponentially compared to just hitting that generic send request button. Y'all, there is a tool on LinkedIn that I think everyone should be utilizing, and it's probably the best kept secret. Want to know what it is? Keep watching and I will show you what that tool is and how you can use it to get steps closer to your next job. Okay, so the tool is the Alumni Tool on LinkedIn. I don't know if you know this, but every college and university has this alumni tool that is super awesome. And I'll tell you how we use it in a second, but first I have to show you how to get there. So you are going to type in the name of your university in the LinkedIn search bar. And then make sure you go to your university's official page. And then on the left-hand side, you will scroll down to where it says alumni. Click on that, and up will come 2 columns, and it'll say how many alumni from the school are in these features. So there's 2 columns, and then if you click over, there's 2 more. If you click over, there's 2 more, right? They'll say things like where they're located, where they work, what they studied, how you're connected, and what they're skilled at. This is super awesome because now you can go in there and click around based on where they live, what they studied, and find people that you have even more in common with. So here are 3 main ways I love to use this feature. One is if you want to work in a different state or city than where your school is located. So let's say you go to school in Arizona, but you want to move to New York after graduation. You can go to your school's website or alumni page, and on the where they're located, hit New York, and it'll only show you alumni who live in New York. So now you can reach out to them and your connection request say, hey, saw you went to ASU, but live in New York. I go to ASU and want to move to New York after graduation. I would love to connect. You can build your network in New York from your dorm in Arizona. That's amazing. This is also obviously one of the best ways to find people at your dream company. So you can search that what companies they work for feature, or you can go in the search bar and type the company name and a company will pop up. From there, you can scroll down and see all the people who work at that dream company. Now, depending on the company, if it's something like Google, your school could have thousands of people who have worked there over time. You might want to then filter by major as well to get people of your major at your dream company. And then reach out, same thing. Hey, saw you work at Google and you were a communications major, because we're not going to go engineering this time. You were a communications major at ASU. I'm a communications major at ASU and it is my dream to work at Google. I would love to connect. Because you have school in common, they are more likely to connect with you than some random stranger on the internet. So you have to be using this tool because this is going to be your gateway to meeting so many more people in your dream job, in your dream industry, or with your dream career. And yeah, my phone went off during that, but we're keeping it. The last way I like to use it is one people don't think about a lot, but if you are of a certain major and you've realized, I don't think this is what I want to do with my life, I want to do something different, you can use this tool to get ideas of where your major can take you. So go in there, find your major, click on it, and now you're only going to see alumni of your major. So scroll through and read their titles. Is everybody doing exactly what the major would normally lead to? Probably not. So you can start seeing what other options are out there and then connect with those people, send them a connection request, then send them that message asking for an informational interview so you can hear their career story and how they got to where they are today when their major might have been something over here compared to what they do now. And obviously, if you're a business, this works the same, or if you have a small business, this works the same way. You can reach out and find people that are in your same niche because maybe you can work as referrals to each other, or maybe you want to find people in kind of adjacent niches, like doctors tend to refer lawyers and lawyers tend to refer finance people, etc. So you can kind of create your own alumni referral network, or just find people in the industries that need your product and reach out to them and start building relationships. Now, please don't reach out to alumni and start selling to them right away. Build relationships first. I think we all know that, but it just has to be said. Okay, so have I won you over on the amazing tool of the alumni feature? I honestly swear I think this is the best feature on LinkedIn and nobody is using it. So start using this to your advantage today. Reach out, connect with alumni, and start building relationships to get you to that next job or more business. With that, we are done for today. Please give this video a thumbs up if you like LinkedIn content. Hit the notification bell like I said before so you know when new videos come out, and be sure to subscribe first. And right now you should be getting suggestions of other videos I think you'd like, so please keep watching and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!